Alive. And starting to count down.
Good evening and welcome to Basically Morning News, the show about news, kind of, that is also in the morning or night. The choice is yours. Well, if you watch the live stream, it's an evening show. Not much you can do about that. I am here live tonight with Mr. Chris Pavlik and Mr. Patrick Thompson. How are you guys?
Good. How are you, Sean?
Pretty good. What you guys been up to? Anything new in the world of Chris and Patrick?
I have a voiceover website now launched.
Oh man, you didn't wait long, did you?
I know. I don't. I'm not going to say the title. It's just something I've been working towards. So it's relevant to my life.
It's relevant to my life. All right. Well, let's go ahead and break it right on into this week's rundown. All right. First on the list is a very strange, seemingly floating boat. This is from the desk of Mr. Thompson here. What have you got for us?
Well, the photo, as shown on screen, it shows a ship off the coast of Cornwall, England, appearing to float high above the water. Experts say it's due to a weather phenomenon called as superior mirage, in which warm air on top of colder air bends light as it reaches the viewer's eyes. And this thing went viral, and I'm just like, really? You see this shit when you're driving all the time. Like, it's the same effect on asphalt. And I'm just like, I'm perplexed. It's the whole, is this dress gray or blue thing? You know, it's like the ship is clearly not fucking floating.
I guarantee you, as somebody who might have been someone that could staff a ship like that at one point in my life, I can guarantee you that ship is not floating. If it is, there is a much bigger problem than your eyes working. Right? Somebody forgot to pay the gravity bill.
Pretty much.
Not again. Somebody needs to go stab the mole people again. Son of a bitch.
Stab the mole people?
The mole people live in the core of the earth, and they produce the gravity that keeps us all here.
So they're just like hyper dense. There's the hyper dense civilization.
Yeah, they're hyper dense, and they live close to the core. So, you know, just really good people. You got to meet them.
No, it's a little hot down there for us mere mortals.
No, they come up here every now and then. They like Starbucks.
Of course they would. Of course.
They prefer their chai lattes. I've heard their reviews. They claim that they are delightful and earthy.
You leave my desirable chai lattes out of this.
Hey, they're my desirable chai lattes too. I will scrap.
Yeah, but it amazes me that the internet goes crazy and up in arms for, dude, like, come on, like, it's the whole stupid it's every internet thing that's happened in the last 10 years all over again, along with do you hear this or that or whatever the hell it was.
It's like, no, it's not floating, but people go, no, it's floating. It's floating. Why? Mole people. Why? Anti-gravity generators. Why? It's actually a UFO that looks like a cargo ship, and the aliens just fucked up and made it look like something that flies instead of floats or floats instead of flies.
If it was an alien race that fucked up, I bet that guy got fired.
Oh, dude, that guy got fired.
It's like, Fucking Pierce Brosnan's head on a chihuahua.
Oh my
Pierce Brosnan's head on a chihuahua. What is that?
God.
If you guys haven't seen Mars Attacks, wonderful movie.
Next on the list of things that shouldn't have happened this week but did, and now we're all paying the price. This is from a blockchain company who has bought
Excuse me.
and then subsequently burned a piece of Banksy's artwork to turn it into a digital original through non-fungible tokenry.
Nifty.
So, yes, they made a nifty by destroying art.
Oh, gee.
That's interestingly fun.
Well, it's kind of like the hinge. Like if I tell you, oh, I'm going to do your art on this index card, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to give you the art on this index card as an NFT. I can still hand this out to whoever I want.
Right.
But the premise now being, if I make an NFT and then destroy the original, that is the original. There's no other copies.
Right.
So like it's legitimately the only one now.
I'm stupid and forget who put shit where. Is this also from my desk?
Yeah, this is definitely from me.
Oh, okay.
Wow. See why I said we needed color coding things? You see what I mean?
Color coding.
He don't even know his own desk.
Look, the script, when we write the script, we need to give each, like, I'm going to send a box of blue crayons to you, Patrick. I'm going to send a box of red crayons to Foggy. And I'm going to sit here with like the white crayons because you can't even see those. So may as well just make it a pain in the butt.
Can we just make it black construction paper then? Then we can get the neon crayons and they show up better.
That is genius, Patrick. I'm promoting you.
Swear to God.
Sweet. Foggy, you're fine. No, I'm kidding.
All right. Hey, I'll see you guys later. I'm going to Cancun. I gotta, lasso the sun.
You gotta just cruise on out, huh?
Just
Well, I
cruising
mean,
out.
you're promoted. I can leave. We don't need 3.
Well, I promoted him. That doesn't mean that just means we need another person now. I'm not going to replace you with a box of crayons yet.
Why? They would be more fun. At least you could color with those.
Yeah, it's
Here's something that's not in the stories whatsoever.
okay.
Crayola caught a bunch of hell earlier this year and late last year for releasing a box of different skins from around the world crayon box set. And I've seen them on Walmart clearance for like 50 cents. And I've thought about buying them, like more so than I should. And I'm just like, I just want to open them to see what the names of the colors are. Because they fucked up like years ago with skin. Like they tried doing this once before. And they called what we would consider Caucasian. They called it normal skin or normal complexion in the box. And the brown crayon that was supposed to be representative of the African-American skin tone was something stupid. And I can't remember what the name of it was, but this is not the first time they've tried to pull this shit. But back to the story at hand, Nifties.
Well, ain't that just an unfortunate happening? Crayola, we hear you. We see you. And if you feel seen, it's because you are.
So,
we've got your crayons.
To touch on what Boston was saying, blockchain company bought a $95,000 Banksy artwork, burned it, and broadcast it live on Twitter. All part of the process of turning the work into a virtual asset called a non-fungible token or a nifty. The Injective Protocol, the company behind the stunt, bought the screen print Morons White from New York's, oh, Jesus Christ, Tagliatella Gallery. Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't I read that word earlier? Then burned it Monday evening. The event, which took place in an undisclosed Brooklyn neighborhood, was live streamed through the Twitter account Burnt Banksy. Moments later, Injective Protocol employees created a digital representation of the art using blockchain technology on the open sea, which recently gained notoriety after Mark Cuban used it to issue his own NFT. So
what you're saying is they found a way, the ultra rich and the people involved in the processes of selling and buying artwork have found a way to sell and buy artwork without even losing the original artwork.
right. Oh, I'm sure this would have been great in times of, like, I don't know, the 40s, when the Nazi regime was trying to take and store and hoard all the world's art. They would have just like, all right, we're having a bonfire. These are all digital now. Good job, guys.
Good job.
I don't know.
We'll storm in the cloud. What cloud?
I mean,
It's 1943.
Josh got this thumb drive. Yeah.
I have no problem with technology progressing, but some of the stuff and some of the ideas, like, I think that's just a stupid idea. Because
The NFTs?
like, how does that, I can't hang it on the wall. If I buy a piece of art, isn't
You
that
can hand it off
people-
your keychain, though, inside of a hamster flash drive. That's kind of neat.
Well, you can also display it in your in-game worlds. So, like, or like
Second
virtual worlds, Second Life VR chat, your Oculus home, your Steam home. You can display it. You have the right to display that in the digital format any which way you want
because you own it.
Because you own that. Yeah.
I swear to God, if these bastards burn a fucking Van Gogh, I'll kill them.
No, they won't do that. What they'll do is someone who owns a famous painting will NFT it and say they want to keep the original, but they want to extract the value from that painting. They'll NFT it and do a release of 30,000 of these, and they'll go for 1.2 million a piece or some bullshit because people go, look, I can buy the digital rights to this. Well, yeah, you and 30,000 other people.
Yeah, it doesn't make much fucking sense. I mean,
It's just reprinting. It's digital reprinting.
yeah, that's all it is.
Oh, so it's
But at least it's serialized.
So it's like a new Kodak moment.
Kind of.
They've just upgraded. You don't need this big old camera with this film that comes out. Now it's just there. Cool.
Well, it's not just art.
Well,
That's even better.
It's
better
video,
Kodak.
it's music, it's anything audiovisual and even written.
wow.
That's
You
good.
can store those in NFTs. So you could probably buy like a manuscript. I know the first ever tweet sent on Twitter was sold as an NFT. Jack Dorsey made himself a tidy sum from that like a couple days ago.
Well, moving forth, we're going to sling it back to Boston for our next rundown topic.
Yes, this one is so Jack Dorsey bought Tidal, right? So Tidal is
Music thing, right?
yeah, it was the first group to go high res, or one of the first groups to go high res with their streaming. Excuse me.
Right.
And in that process, they brought a lot of cost in upon themselves, and the business was struggling. And yet, even after all of that, Jack Dorsey bought it. Why? Well, I don't know. There's some speculation in the moment as to why. It seems like that Jack Dorsey through Square might have purchased it, but there's nothing directly landing on, hey, this is this is in advance of all the struggles that Tidal's been having. There's a clear and obvious great reason to have made this purchase, and so there's additional there in.
So there's a reason. It's just unclear.
It's very unclear because Tidal was not doing well. Spotify's been improving. A few years ago, people were talking about Milk as a streaming service. Pandora basically it's got a lot of, it sticks. Years ago, people were talking about, it sticks decently well. So it'll have some staying power, but Spotify is definitely the front runner followed closely or competed closely with by like Apple Music and stuff like that, and Amazon, and that kind of stuff. And when Spotify put out that it was going to be doing hi-fi now, so it's doing lossless audio streaming. All Tidal has is some unique contracts with some artists.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So if you were gonna buy Tidal as Square of all things, like there must be some strange financial reason, and I'm going to keep my ears to the ground as time goes on to figure out why the heck you would have done something like that.
Ears to the ground.
All right, let's throw this back across the table over to Mr. Thompson's desk with the article regarding a massive iceberg larger than New York City breaking off of an ice shelf in Antarctica.
That's not mine, but I'll read it.
Actually, mine, but that's cool. Go for it. He'll read it better. I'll just read it boringly.
Let the Fogman do it. Let the
Foggy.
So the whole reason that I thought this was interesting was because that it's a massive iceberg that's 490 square miles, which is bigger than New York City, because New York City is about 302 square miles. So I just thought it was pretty interesting for the people that sit there and always say global warming doesn't do anything. Just in case you didn't notice, there's a big ice shelf that broke off that's bigger than New York City. And the one guy...
Give me a break. Breaking off a piece of that ice shelf.
The one guy, he made an official statement from the BAS website. The director, Dame Jane Francis, said, researchers have been anticipating a break-off for a while now.
Okay, so they knew this was coming. Why didn't they stop it? Like they should be able to just go out there with like more ice and and more ice and like ice drills and rebar and like steel supports, and they should have just buckled this together. This is not on us. It's not on how we're using energy in this country. It's on them. They should be engineering stronger ice shelves.
So is that your engineering opinion?
Yes, that's my official engineering prognosis.
See, I knew that's why I had to put that one in there, because I knew that would lead to one of you two doing something like that. I just thought it was going to be Patrick.
Let me tell you, like when I look at ice shelves, like all I can think of and like why I'm super disappointed is because like I could have been there paddling out when that ice shelf broke off and made like just giant barrel, and I could have just been like, shwah, and then it's an opportunity missed, man.
I mean, and so that was just a little tidbit because I figured one of you do it. And I'm assuming, I believe, if I'm not correct, but this goes back to you, Boston, because this next one is yours. I think. I could be
yes. Okay. So the crash that happened, we mentioned in a previous show that had what, some odd 13 people die.
Yeah.
And there were 25 packed in an SUV.
That was a border crossing, I believe.
Yeah, it was a border crossing, and it was through a hole in the slats that was, a little bit wider than the vehicles were when you look at the picture. But the car came coming through that and was T-boned by a truck.
Oof.
And 13 people lost their lives. But the people who were packed in that car, some 25 people, those people who came across the border that way supposedly paid as much as $10,000 a person to do that.
Whoa.
Wow.
So that means that car had approximately what? $250,000 in cash in it.
Yeah.
So I've got a thing then. If that's the way that we're going to talk about this, if people are willing to pay $10,000 to come across the border illegally, And all you're doing is making it to where that like you're creating a secondary market as a government by not creating a path for people to be able to come in here more safely, quickly with expediency. You're making them have to pay, use coyotes, cars, endanger their lives, those kinds of things. They're going to do it. They're going to try. There's enough of a push that people will pay $10,000 to literally freaking die in a car crash. If that doesn't reach out to some folks who didn't understand fully the gravity of the situation, I hope this does, because I know a lot of people who wouldn't pay $10,000 to jam themselves into a tiny, tiny car with 24 other people, only to die or to risk death.
Unless there's a dire situation.
Right. And so that situation must have been as dire as it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a good idea to think about that, because most people I know wouldn't pay $10 to travel across a border, even legally. They wouldn't pay 10 grand for nothing. I know people won't pay 10 grand for their car.
And I mean, I could just also imagine, because listen, we all know that not everybody coming across that border's coming across illegally for drugs or shit like that. There's people coming across that are really trying to get to a better life for a reason. But we don't even know how difficult and hard it is to go through an immigration process at a border.
Nope.
So
apparently it's hard enough to pay 10 grand to take a vehicle across.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Especially, listen, if you're coming here to be a law-abiding citizen and do what you want to do to make a life for yourself, cool. But if you're coming here as a criminal, no, we don't want you either. But
I'd rather have a criminal that's alive than a.
Absolutely, I 100% agree. Absolutely.
So maybe we should think about ways to not have people turned into paste on the roadside. Instead, just shake their hand and walk them in the front door. It's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
All right, next one I got. College students are still paying for services and buildings that remain off limits. Campus fees, which usually constitute the majority or a large part, indeed, of the not a majority, but a substantial part of student fees, sometimes totaling between $800 and $1,100 a semester.
Right.
Those are basically they're your fees to access and use buildings around campus, not your dorms, mind you, but libraries, sports arenas, things like that. And those buildings are remaining closed, but people are being charged for their use. And those charges are increasing. So last semester, in this case, in the article, people were charged a little bit over $800, 840 or something like that. And they weren't allowed to use it all semester. Libraries, sports arenas. Now it's going up to almost $1,200. It's $1,150 now, I think, based on that article. And they still don't get to use the stuff. So you figure, well, why are we taking that money from people if they can't use the spaces? Well, they need to be maintained. Well, it's not people's jobs who can't use the buildings to pay for their maintenance. Right? If these places get so fouled up that they have to have money to survive, they're going to have to figure out some other way of getting that, rather than putting that on people's essentially student loans. Because what they're counting on is people going, my loans still cover it. I'm glad they do. Ooh. But the thing is, what they're doing is they're building these building fees. This I've seen through my own experience. They look at what the allotments are going to be for student loans for the year, and they set their cost of attendance in tandem with that. Mm-hmm. Right? So if they are granted, essentially what it comes to is they're granted a higher value they can charge that the government will then cover as backing for loans. So the government will say, yeah, students coming your way will be eligible for around, X dollars. I think, okay, well, that's the cost of attendance. Perfect. All right. Now there's an increase in the amount of money available. Cost of attendance goes up, whatever. That then stays right there with it, because as much loans as they can get from us while we're in school is as much as they're going to get. They're not going to say, look, we're going to really lean this up. And, maybe we're not going to do rock walls and lazy rivers and lobster dinners. Mm-hmm. Right. Maybe instead we're going to have a place where people just show up and learn. They can do what they want with their own time. but instead forced dormitories. That's becoming more and more common for the first couple of years of school. Even if you have family that's in the same city, you have to stay on campus. It's $1,500 plus a month for half of a room. And that was just at a CSU. I mean, it's atrocious. It is atrocious. And they can do all that because they can hook you with loans. Say, just go file FAFSA. It's fine. File FAFSA. It's like this simple, easy thing that's just you do it and you can go to college now. Look, congratulations. Okay, well, this is something anyone who, if you're tuning in and you're talking about college, keep this in mind. Think about this for yourself. If you take on debt as an individual that is not student debt, if the worst were to befall you and you file bankruptcy, there's a chance that you can get out from under that debt. This will never go away. There's nothing you can do, no matter how bad things get. You can't get out from under student debt.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's for sure. Rent a bundle of paper with some writing on it for $1,000.
Is our producer is I think he's trying to get us to rent a book.
It's worth it.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
It's like, how much is this Psych 101 book? $400 at end of the semester. How much can I get for this used Psych book that cost me $400? 38 cents in store credit and this Twizzler I bit off of.
Yeah. Or I'll give you 35 cents and a voucher to the school lunchroom.
Do you like chai lattes from Starbucks? What do we got a deal for you?
$3.87.
That's where the teachers, the professors get all their quiz answers from.
Always check page 69 and 420. Absolutely. There's always good stuff on those pages.
Somebody get a crash card. Our producer's gone code blue.
Clear.
We're losing him.
Oh, man, we just got him.
I know.
We can't find another Dan.
Come back to us.
While we look for what's going to save our producer's life, let's hear from our great sponsors this evening, Mimi's Gifts.
Need a great gift or a beautiful new furnishing for a space in your home? Browse on over to mimisgifts.com. Here at Mimi's, we have beautiful decor for every room in your house. And remember to use promo code KWZL20 at checkout for 20% off of your entire purchase. That's right, 20%. Next time you need something exquisite, remember, mimisgifts.com. Bring something beautiful home today.
Fucking Dan's grunt before he played that made me laugh. He's like, ugh.
You didn't file your paperwork.
Wazowski.
Hey. No, wait. No. The puce goes to... all right. Well, we're back to our second part with the rundown here. This is from the desk of Mr. Thompson.
Why are half of the articles tonight from my desk?
The articles this evening.
You sure went on a reporting binge. I don't know what to
Welcome to
tell
the
you.
Patrick's Really Boring News Hour. I'm Patrick.
We'll be sure to interrupt him as much as we can. This article is titled "Alaska's Remote Villages Race Against Time and History."
Absolutely. Let's get into it, shall we? This article actually struck me as kind of a tearjerker, and I'll read through it and we'll discuss. Here we go. Birch Creek, Alaska. As the turboprop plane rumbled to a halt at the edge of a frozen landing strip, Vanessa Joseph and her fellow villagers were racing to meet it, their snowmobiles kicking up a flurry of powder behind them. Within minutes, 6 residents of Birch Creek, bundled in parkas and gloves in the 25 below zero afternoon, had piled into the fraying seats, and the engine was roaring again as the plane lifted off to the north, headed toward Fort Yukon. What's MS? Massachusetts? I don't know. Anyway, I'm stupid. Joseph looked out across
Alaska.
the vast. Well, no, it says MS.
Are you sure that's not multiple sclerosis?
I was going to do the same joke, but I didn't.
Call the offices of James Sokolov.
Fort Yukon, multiple sclerosis. Joseph looked out across the vast wetlands.
It's a real tearjerker, guys.
Maybe it's
God,
Mississippi.
I hate you
MS
guys.
is Mississippi.
I hate you guys so
Right?
bad.
Isn't MS Mississippi? Right? MS is Mississippi.
It's a long ways from Alaska.
Anyway, the vast wetlands where the stunted spruce trees cast long shadows in the winter sun. Vaccination day had arrived. With a population of about 24 that relies on a subsistence life of fishing pike in the summer and hunting moose in the fall, Birch Creek operates like numerous villages in Alaska with no road access, no running water, and no neighbors for miles. But despite the natural isolation, more than 100 miles from Fairbanks and on the edge of the Arctic Circle, the coronavirus still had managed to find its way in. In the fall, Miss Joseph, I'm a fucking idiot.
I mean, yeah, but why?
No, I'm thinking, okay, so the MS, it was spaced out stupidly, and I thought they were going, it was Fort Yukon, Alaska, but that apostrophe or the comma there made it look like, you get what I'm saying? Anyway.
No, sir, I do not.
All right, we'll figure it out.
Big ass teeth.
Right?
Aaron Wright said.
The coronavirus had still managed to find its way in. In the fall, Miss
pike is
Joseph,
fun.
not Mississippi Joseph, Miss Joseph, was laid up for days with illness.
Good old Mississippi Joe.
Right? People in 2 of the nearest villages also died. So basically what this means is that coronavirus still traveled to Alaska, where, in the beginning, people thought, hey, this isn't going to survive in extreme cold or extreme heat. When in reality it did. And, something like this in small villages where they don't have things like running water. I mean, I'm sure they have a water supply or somewhat to be able to wash up and stuff. But basically, this thing has ravaged through small Alaskan outpost villages, and destroyed a way of life.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, that's what drugs are for. Maybe some of these people will be safe now because of major corporations financed by government expenditure through public taxation and otherwise quantitative easing. We have come together to develop products and or services that may well help people survive that otherwise would have no chance.
I got stabbed in the arm today.
Ouch. Sounds painful. Did you get the guy who did it to you?
Yeah. He was in the Navy. So.
Oh, well, that
Easy
explains a
fun.
lot. Oh, shit.
Yeah, I think they're just training people to stab people in the arms. Like, there's no medical training for this whatsoever. But I did get to see. I did get to see the new Ranger Stadium. So that was kind of neat. Because that's where I had to go to get my
get the old
arm stab. But no, I mean, so the indigenous people of the Alaskan wilds, if you will. I don't think it's right that because we down here in the States couldn't flatten it out well enough because we were misinformed and everything else, that it traveled up there and ravaged through their way of life. That's my only
article. It blames people that far away.
It's an assumption. Because it's got to be transmitted somewhere. Like, they just said that somebody was on a plane, right? And they were traveling. So they could have picked it up in Fairbanks or Fort Yukon and brought it back to the village. Like, that's how transmission works. It's on your skin and clothes for 6 hours until it dies. So, I mean, a 2-hour flight's not going to kill a virus.
A virus.
You got to be careful for them viruses.
Well, I'm looking forward to the time that we can look back on all this and go, we were all really just very silly about this, weren't we?
Man,
maybe this is just it's not a thing no more.
Right. I'm just happy that somebody was like, you're not afraid of getting the shot from the government. I'm like, man, I've been American since I was born, and this is the only free healthcare I've ever gotten. So you know what? I'll take it.
Well, in terms of other things that I would be much happier not talking about this evening, let's move on to our next topic. Abortion is now legal in Argentina, but opponents are making it hard to get. This comes also from the desk of Patrick.
How many things can
I don't know. I'm just glad you wrote it because I know.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't have talked about it.
Well, I believe. This wasn't the one you were supposed to show for beautiful picture, but hey, she's got the cute. I'm kidding. Let's keep going.
And he zooms in. Zoom in.
He heard nothing about what you said.
Enhance. That just happened
I know,
organically.
That's why I laughed.
Buenos Aires. For the first time in more than a century, women in Argentina can legally get an abortion. But that landmark shift in law may do them little good at hospitals like the one in northern Jujuy province, where all but one obstetrician have a simple response: no.
Wow, that sounds like a very large group of obstinate obstetricians.
Right? Abortion opponents are reeling after a measure legalizing the procedure was signed into law in December. But they have hardly given up. They have filed lawsuits arguing that the new law is unconstitutional, and they have made sure doctors know that they can refuse to terminate pregnancies, a message that is being embraced by many in rural areas. The law, this is a quote, the law is already a reality, but that doesn't mean we have to stay still, said Dr. Gloria Eben, a general practitioner and abortion opponent who travels the remote Kalahari valleys. I think I actually got that right. Of Salta Providence to see patients. Also saying we must be proactive. The neighboring Jujuy, 29 of the 30 obstetricians of the Hector Quintana Maternity and Children's Hospital have declared themselves conscientious objectors as the law allows. So have all but a handful of the 120 gynecologists in the province, said Dr. Ruben Veliz, head of the obstetrics department at Hector Quintana. So, it's just, I don't think, if people want to choose to terminate or what have you, they should have the right to do that. I'm a guy, I have testicles, leave it to the women, let them choose what happens to them. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, I can take it one step further there. And I think this is going to be interesting for some people, but I think depending on the nature of how difficult it is to start businesses in Argentina, what you're going to see is these handful of people still willing to perform the surgery. Yeah. They're all going to get very wealthy. Yep. That's just the way it goes. If you're willing to throw out your market like that, if it's one guy, add a zero to your price, because you have to get all over the country to do your work, and you have to have materials and equipment there every single time.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, traveling vacuum salesman almost.
But now you've got a reason to travel with medical equipment, which is just I imagine in order for that to happen, it would be very, very expensive. So to those companies who are being conscientious objectors, if too many of you do that, you're going to hand F loads of money to your competition, and they're going to be better equipped to fight you when things start to even out and balance again. So you're giving away market capitalization, market share, and market feasibility to people who may not have even been as good or as desirable as your business was to begin with. So you want to talk about bonehead move. You're not here to preach. You're not a member of the ecclesiarchy. You're a freaking doctor.
Right.
Get a hold of it. That's what I got to say.
There you go.
Yeah. Foggy's like, I'm not commenting.
Well,
I'm tweeting. Okay. Can you just I'm tweeting about the article here.
I'm just being a free marketer.
So am I. I'm tweeting us. Okay.
How are we looking, producer Dan?
40 minutes.
Okay. How's the people?
Good.
Okay. Let's go ahead and take a. Let's move on to the next segment. This is tonight's deep dive. Here to talk with us tonight about the history of the Michelin star rating system as
Son of a bitch, me again?
Here to talk with us tonight about the Michelin star rating system is our good friend Patrick Thompson. Hey, Patrick Thompson, how you doing?
Well, hi there, man.
So you're going to give us a Michelin star tonight, huh?
We don't deserve one. Anyway.
You don't? Oh, man. I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty tasty.
I am.
I think people would drive out of their way. I think they take a detour from seeing
like you must eat a lot of pineapples or something. Anyway, let's keep
strawberries,
it rolling.
magnesium, and zinc supplements.
Right. All right. Have you ever wondered where the Michelin star rating came from or why it even exists? Well, as a leading culinary arts school put into this article, they thought we should know the whole story and why chefs and restaurants try to gain this. Let me clear my nose. This is a long one.
Well, you can paraphrase.
No.
We're actually ahead of schedule just by a touch, so we can
touch.
Or sorry, we're a little bit behind.
Oh, okay.
It's 15 minutes later than it should be, nearly.
Its origins trace back to the turn of the 20th century and were inspired by a surprising turn of events that have very little, if anything, to do with cuisine. Stuffed pork medallions. Let's take a drive down memory lane. Literally. The invention of the automobile. That's right. The first Michelin guide was compiled in 1900 by French industrialist André Michelin, along with his brother, Edward Michelin.
Oh, you got it.
I know.
It was going to be Edward.
Edward Michelin. They wanted to create demand for automobiles and therefore the tires they manufactured. At the time, there were plenty of bicycles, but there were only 300 cars in France, not enough for a viable business selling automobile tires. The brothers had a profit motive. The first print of the Michelin Guide was 35,000 copies. It included maps, instructions on how to repair and change tires. It also included a list of restaurants, hotels, mechanics, and gas stations along popular routes in France. It's like AAA.
Yep.
That's what they were going
One-stop
for.
shop.
Exactly. It was given away for free. In less than a decade, the Michelin Guide had gained speed. No pun intended. There were guides available in every Western European country, North America, Southern Italy, and Corsica. The world stops twice. The outbreak of the War of 1914 halted production, but by 1920, the guide was back on track. The brothers decided to ramp up the quality of the guide. They eliminated the advertising and started charging for it. Rumor has it, the brothers decided to put a price tag on them when they visited a mechanic shop and found a stack of their free guides propping up a workbench. Sorry. The first Michelin star ratings were given in 1926. Restaurants in France were awarded a single star if they were considered to be fine dining establishments. In 1931, the rating system was expanded to become the Michelin 3-star rating. A star stood for 1 star, a very good restaurant in its category, 2 stars, excellent cooking, worth a detour, and 3 stars, worth a special journey. So, like, just go drive to this one fucking place.
So, like, okay, so what you're trying to tell me is 1 star is like, don't even bother. Like, go there if you're like already there. But
Yeah.
like 2 stars, that's like, all
A
right,
minor
I'll
inconvenience.
take,
worth.
yeah, I'll take side streets instead of staying on the freeway the whole way, so we can stop here for some food
Right.
first. Okay,
Right.
and then 3 stars is a place worth making a pilgrimage to. So
Yeah.
something more
Yep.
in line with
Like the Canterbury Tales.
So
yes.
So it's basically more along the lines of like, I'll drive the hour and 45 minutes it takes for me to get to a Checkers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just like a Checkers, Foggy.
Perfect.
Or in my case, the 6.5 hours it would take me to get to a Whataburger.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Waterburger.
A Whataburger.
The guide took a hiatus during World War II and only resumed late in 1939 because it contained maps that were useful to the Allied forces. Oh, I didn't know that. That's kind of cool. It's like, hey, take this food map with you.
Mhm.
Yeah,
All
they might
fat
still have
guys
some stuff in their
food
larder.
maps.
However, the Michelin star rating was reduced to a 2-star system because of food shortages. Quality suffered at restaurants throughout Europe, so the yardstick was adjusted accordingly. In 1955, Michelin came up with a rating system that acknowledged restaurants serving high-quality fare at moderate prices. The Bib Gourmand highlights dining opportunities that are more reflective of economic standards. They are customized by region and country based on the cost of living and gives diners a chance to eat well without breaking the bank. And the Michelin guide jumps the pun. The Michelin star rating didn't take hold in America until 2005 and concentrated solely on fine dining in New York. Tokyo, Hong Kong, and Macau were added to the guide in 2007 and 8. It now covers 23 countries with 14 editions sold in 90 countries around the world. The Michelin guide only touches on a small number of U.S. cities: Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and San Francisco. If you're an aspiring chef, you'll want to focus on these cities after graduation if that's your career goal.
Yeah, but if you're interested in learning about local food that's actually really good, like where I lived, they had a free magazine that went out for a long time. That was, in local stores and things like that. They'd get a little case of them brought every Thursday, I think. And there's
Right.
tons of articles about restaurants in there.
Yeah.
Tons.
Most
So there's
definitely.
local stuff that's out there. It's not like, hey man, there's only one source for this shit, and you got to get with it because Michelin knows.
Right.
No, that's some crap.
Well, there's been a growing trend to reject Michelin star ratings around the world. Some restaurateurs even demanding that their star rating be removed. They feel that the expectations of the star system are unreasonable and restrict a chef's creativity in the kitchen. Still, in today's culinary industry, there's a reverence held for the iconic Michelin star rating system. Some restaurateurs go so far as to say it's the only rating that matters because it's authentic. and they do have somewhat of a point. Meat salad with vegetables, since Michelin inspectors are among the few who remain completely anonymous when reviewing the restaurant. While some savvy restaurants claim to have learned the tell, the review will reflect the experience any diner would have. No red carpet treatment and extra attention from the kitchen in front of house staff. A casual diner will have the exact same experience as the inspector. If a restaurant is attentive enough to figure out the signals of the Michelin star inspector gives away, then that's a restaurant that pays very close attention to their craft and is probably worth the visit. Still going full speed after all that mileage in France, the release of the new Michelin star guide has the glitz and glam and media buzz of an Oscar ceremony. For the rest of the world, it's simply considered a reliable source of information for culinary tourists and everyday diners who want an exceptional dining experience. While it's over 100 years old, if you're an up and coming chef who wants to stay on top of the latest culinary trends, you'd be wise to track the trends taking hold in the world of fine dining. So yeah, have any of you guys ever eaten through the Bib guide or the Michelin guide?
No, I have
Nope.
not. I usually look for places exclusively that when I look them up on Yelp, they say, this place treated me horribly, never go there. And then I go there and the food's good.
Ah,
Mm-hmm.
so you look for,
and there's usually not a long wait because somebody read a bad review and said, I ain't fucking going there. But you know what? Food's good.
I have a thing for like fancy ass food trucks because
I love
they
food trucks.
take risks sometimes, you know.
Food trucks are great.
Mm-hmm. I definitely enjoyed some of those. One of the things that sticks out to me was there was a Spanish food truck that served like a chimichurri steak served on top of fries. That was something pretty good.
Oh, it's a fat man's dream.
yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. Speaking of delicious, delightful delectables, let's take another moment here to have a short conversation with tonight's second excellent sponsor, Poppins Cherries.
Are you making your favorite ice cream confections and just feel like something's missing? Well, for over 56 years, Poppins Cherries have been making the population smile with their Poppins Cherries maraschino cherries. Men and women the country over have enjoyed Poppin' Cherries for over 5 decades. Scuttle over to poppincherries.org to pick you a jar or two up today. Are you making your favorite ice cream? I thought I replaced it with the right one.
That sounded right to me. It sounded like we had some delightful cherry products and some interesting double entendres for people.
Oh, man. That was supposed to be the promo for my OnlyFans.
Oh,
wow.
Whoopsies.
All right.
Shit. Maybe next week.
So let's take a quick run through the second part of the deep dive here. We're going to talk about vaccine distribution. So California launched a program for any resident to get vaccinated through volunteering. If you go and you volunteer with certain parts of the state, particularly in the places that are giving these vaccinations, right? They move you up the list because you're going to be around people who, lots of people coming in and you're going to be interacting with each one. That's one way to get yourself up the list if for some reason you feel like you're very low down the list. Like if you're a, perfectly healthy, not overweight, non-asthmatic 22-year-old and you need to have the vaccine before, somebody's 65-year-old asthmatic parent who's obese, the best way that you can do that is by going to volunteer. So if you want to do that, make sure you do.
That's right. Alligator testicles are really hard to get a hold of.
What?
Oh, I thought that was the part of the conversation we were. No, I'm kidding. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Volunteering is a
You're an
great-
asshole, Patrick. I swear to God you are. You do that shit all the time on purpose. You're an asshole.
The second part of this sub-block here, Italy has blocked a shipment from AstraZeneca with a load of COVID vaccine destined for Australia because they're saying Australia doesn't need it as much as they do. So we're bordering on a little bit of what people might be calling vaccine nationalism. The idea that you should not give away a dose of a vaccine that you can use to protect your own people before anyone else, which is funny because a lot of the vaccines, a lot of the research, development, and production of them did happen here in the States, and I'm not hearing anything about the United States bogarting the freaking stuff. So, but AstraZeneca was having a bit of a problem getting out of Italy because Italy said, you can't leave, we need the stuff, and you can't have it. But there have been new developments involved with AstraZeneca that I'm sure we'll hear more about in the coming days. Stay glued to your seats for that, and we might come back and talk about it again. Have we had any comments tonight, Producer Dan? Negative. Okay. Great show we got. Let's move on to the last segment of the night. Who the fuck made this list? All right. Tonight's list is 5 ways to help avoid bear attacks.
You don't say.
Yes. It's very, very simple and straightforward. Patrick, would you like to read us number 1?
Absolutely. Number 1 on the top 5 ways to avoid a bear attack. Take a nap. You can't run from a bear if you're tired, silly.
Oh, really? There it is.
Don't be sleep deprived and try to outrun a bear.
Chris, why don't you take a look at number 2?
Sure. Bears always travel in twos. If you see a bear, watch out for his friend. A bear in the front almost always means a bear in the back.
It would have been like San Franciscan bears.
Who can I just say that really does have to be in the right spot? Because who the fuck wrote this list? Because it would have said it better, if it was written correctly. Means a bear in the rear would have been better.
I am sure that's what would be better for you, friend.
Only if you like your bears in the front and in the rear.
You're the one who read it.
But I usually like their skin made into a rug and their meat in the freezer.
You do not want to eat bear meat. You do not want to eat bear meat.
As long as you harvest it within 30 minutes properly, you will be just fine. It's perfectly fine. You city slickers, man. You city slickers.
All right. Number 3, Patrick, what you got?
Number 3. Try not to carry loose cold cuts in your pocket, dumbass. Obviously, it's not possible to follow this 100% of the time because we all love Slim Jims. But someone with no cold cuts is much less appealing to a bear than someone with them in their pockets. I'll tell you that much right the fuck now.
All right. I'll take number 4. Number 4 in methods to avoid a bear attack, attempt the Boston Extreme Avoidance Hug, or bear hug. For short, if performed effectively, the bear will find you to be far too cool and amazing to maul to death over the choice cuts in your pocket.
I'll do number 5.
Yeah, go ahead. Take number 5.
Spray yourself with bear mace. Bear mace is so annoying and off-putting to bears that they won't come near you. If you spray yourself across the face with it, the technique works great with friends too.
Oh, man.
And I'll read the bonus.
Good. I want some of that bear mace because spraying you two in the face would be fucking great.
I'm sure you'd have a great time with that.
Especially
right.
Patrick, every time I take a drink, he says something stupid because he knows I'm going to try to laugh. And he's waiting for it to come spitting across the screen so we can get that on camera. But it's not going to happen.
It's like that Mike's Hard Lemonade incident.
Right turn, Clyde.
Women want him. Men want to be him.
Oh, I thought women just tried to run from him.
Yeah. That's
My
how it
wife
went.
has never tried to run from me. Thanks.
Well, that's one then.
That's all that matters.
All right, the bonus. This is the bonus method. So if you manage to achieve this, not only have you managed to avoid a bear attack, but you get bonus points for avoiding a bear attack in this manner. If you kill the bear barehanded, wear its hide like a cape and hood to prevent other bears from lighting upon you and to attract their young, the veal of bear meat. Useful for longer term issues and travel.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
On that note, let's hear from our friends over at KWZL the Weasel.
Hey there. I see I caught your attention with some eye candy. I know. If it was my face, you'd keep scrolling on by. I just wanted to let everyone know that when you're on your favorite app, Stereo, that you can find some great content put out by KWZL and our merry band of DJs, Taco Truck California, Patrick Please One, Dr. Gonzo, Yeah I Am Silver, Iris Nightfall, Von Roy, Foggy 420, Core, and Heavy Mahez. All you have to do is download the Stereo app, tap the magnifying glass, and type KWZL. It's that simple to find great programming on Stereo. And remember to browse on over to 889kwzl.online.
I love your guys' ads. Where do you get them?
From you.
Oh, a great way to get in contact with me quicker is pleaserecordthis.com.
Yes, go to pleaserecordthis.com. If you like the quality of our advertisements and you'd like someone to help you with a few of your own, reach out over at pleaserecordthis.com.
Or butcher and laugh at what you want me to read.
and most importantly, folks, if you have hate mail for any of us, please send that to info@889kwzl.online and address it to Patrick. We'll be sure to air it if it's really good hate mail.
Yeah, if somebody really does send hate mail to that address, it's getting read somewhere.
Yes, it will be.
Someone will read it. Yeah. Well, please take a moment to head on over to our website, BMNpod.com, and check us out. We're going to have a blog going there shortly with some interesting new things that if you guys want to read about, we'll have some stuff up there. Please, if you liked spending time with us here and want to do more of that or help support us in our endeavors and efforts to write and produce and perform this content, head on over to patreon.com/BMNpod. Please consider opening your hearts, your minds, and your wallets to support the program.
Yes, we'd appreciate it very much.
Until then, eat, breathe, and shit excellence, folks.
Always remember, have an open heart and an open mind.
And stay fucked, America.
Dan, take us out.
AOL. I'm a cunt.